Well, welcome to class, everyone. We're going to start in a seat. So find something comfortable for yourself, either Sukhasana, Virasana, perhaps sitting in a chair, doesn't really matter. Just get as comfortable as possible for a few minutes. When we talk about asana, the arm of asana in our yoga practice, that's the physical doing the shapes and poses and whatnot. And we tend to think of that as pretty active, moving from pose to pose, like the vinyasa flow. But the word asana, the more complete translation for asana is to sit with what is, to sit with what is. So I don't have to know what's going on with anyone in a class, but I know that stuff is going on with everyone. So my invitation right now is to sit with what is. Close your eyes down, gather the threads of your attention. And allow yourself to get closer to your source of love, your source of beauty, your source or your idea of God. And then just find a nice rhythm to your breath and sit with what is for 10 rounds of breath. And your last 2 rounds of breath, deep in the inhale, lengthen the exhale. And then you can keep your eyes closed here or flutter them open. Press your thighs down towards the floor or towards your properly ground here. And if you're sitting in Sukhasana, maybe take your hands to your knees. If you're sitting in Virasana, hands maybe on the thighs, but take a couple rounds of cat-cow, just a seated cat-cow. I'm going to work today with spiraling, twisting, action in the body. The newsletter, I had a picture of a fiddlehead. And, in the wintertime, we're contracted, we're pulled in, And as spring has arrived, we start to unfold, right? We start to open up and unspiral, as it were. So after those few rounds, if you come to just a nice seat and imagine that you are growing your spine long from sacrum up through the crown of your head, find a neutral, the neutral curves in your spine. And then we're going to inhale the right arm up and gaze at the arm. Exhale, press that hand away and turn in the opposite direction. So a little spiraling in the cervical spine. Inhale, right arm comes up, gaze at the arm, at your hand, and then exhale, press that hand away and turn your head in the opposite direction. So 3 more. If it bothers your neck to look up at your hand, just look at your bicep. Just turn your gaze towards your right arm. And then set your right hand down. Up, same thing on the opposite side. Inhale the left arm up. Turn to your bicep or gaze up at your hand. Then exhale, press away and turn in the opposite direction. And finishing up, come back to center and just bring your hands, palms up right in front of you. So arms are parallel to the floor. Inhale, draw your elbows back and open up through your chest. And exhale, press your hands away and round your back. Inhale, draw the elbows back, open up through your chest. Exhale, press hands away, round. 5 more rounds here. And then come back to center one more time. On your next inhale, lift your chin as if you're smelling the new growth on the trees or a flower. So lift your chin and like you're smelling that new growth, and then exhale, draw the head back, so chin back, and relax. Inhale, lift your chin. You can go to one side and the other, just as if you're smelling something fresh, and then exhale, relax your head. And then come back to center. Line your chin up parallel with the floor and draw your chin back in space. So you kind of make a double chin. And then bring your left ear to your left shoulder. And back to center, right ear to right shoulder. Ooh, got stuck there. And go back and forth a few times. Each time you come back to the center, really draw your chin back in towards your head midline. So we really get the head lined up over the diaphragm, ears over shoulders. Then you can make this a little more fluid by dropping your chin towards your sternum, rolling from one side to the other. And then just relax that effort. Let's go to the mat and meet me there on your back. Have your blocks handy, have your strap handy. Be a lot of twisting and rotating action today. So we want to lengthen the side waist. Get off my mat for a minute. And just start by lengthening through your arms overhead, through the legs, just stretching out your side body as much as possible. Maybe a little pendiculation, inviting the yawn and seeing what wants to move and what way. Okay. And then bring both feet over to the right and interlace your hands behind your head. That left elbow comes back. Back off just slightly. Don't make it too effortful here. Just see about opening the stickiness in the intercostals on the left side of your body. Take a couple rounds of breath here. And then slide your feet to the other side. Right elbow comes back. Same thing. You can back off slightly and just allow the rib cage on the right side to relax or open up. Great. Back to center. And now bend both knees. Take the soles of your feet to the floor and just move your knees softly back and forth. And when we do this action now, we start to feel a little bit of rotation or spiraling in the lower spine. Okay. And we'll come back to center. Take the right leg long on the mat and leave the left leg bent. Sole of your foot to the floor. Arms can be out to a T or a goalpost arms, but we'll drive the left knee across midline, sweep the left arm up. So we're getting opening along the left side body and also starting to really twist from the low back up through the thoracic spine, right, lumbar through the thoracic. So over to the left, to the right with the left knee, and then exhale, come back to center. And let's do 3 more just like that on this side. And once you come back to center after the last one, bend both knees again and just take a couple pelvic tilts just to neutralize your pelvis. And then the left leg goes long, right knee is bent. Inhale, draw the right knee across midline as you stretch the right arm long. You could turn your gaze to your right arm as well, don't have to. And then exhale, return. So really starting to spiral from the lumbar spine, twist from the lumbar spine up to the thoracic spine. Shoulders are pretty stationary on the floor, on your mat. So back and forth, a couple more rounds here. And back to center. Soles of the feet to the floor. Take a couple pelvic tilts or cat-cow movements here on your back. Great. Then you can take your legs long, your arms above your head, kind of loosely here. And we'll pick the right leg up, keep it relatively straight, and just draw it across your midline over to the left until you feel a pretty big spiraling, a pretty big twisting, and then bring it back, right? Pick it up, take it across midline. You're starting to just allow that spiraling or the unspiraling from your low back, right up into your thoracic, just across the body. And then eventually you're just going to let your leg, the weight of your leg bring you all the way over onto your belly. Let it sort of, it's a spiraling action open. Once you're on your belly, just pick up your right leg and bring it across your midline, back over, and let it spiral you open. And you're gonna roll back onto your back. All right, so take a couple of rounds just like that. Right leg comes across midline. You just keep pulling over, pulling with your toes over in that direction. Let the spiraling happen from the lumbar spine up through thoracic and all the way, pulls you all the way over onto your belly. And then you pick up the right leg, cross behind you until you can spiral open in the opposite direction. All right, maybe one more just like that. And then when you come back to on your back, you'll begin the other side. So just pick the left leg up and just bring it across to the right and back over, set it down. Do that a few times. And you might, be a little stickier on this side. Eventually, you're going to let that leg just pull you, and you're going to spiral from your low back through mid back, come all the way over onto your belly. And then pick up the left leg, bring it back behind you, and spiral open in the opposite direction. Okay, take a couple more just like that. Let it be a really natural, or don't force it too much. It'll happen if you pull your leg across. It'll happen, and you'll spiral right open. And then once you're back on your back again, take a Shavasana shape and take a couple breaths. Just take a Shavasana shape here and take a couple breaths. Okay, so now with the feet together, legs together, circle your feet. Circle your feet in one direction. They're like a little unit. And then circle your feet in the opposite direction. And then keep your feet together, legs together, like you have a mermaid tail. And you're going to pull your knees up towards your chest on the left side. Then straighten out and then pull your knees up towards your chest on the right side. Now you can have your feet suspended or you can have them sliding on the floor. Right, it's a little core work, a little core and twist. So your feet are together, legs are together like you have a mermaid tail. And you bring your knees up towards your chest, one side, and straighten, and then the other side. Mm-hmm. Let's go a few more rounds on each side. Good. Then come back to center. Bend your knees, take the soles of your feet to the floor. Just a little counter for that now. So take a nice deep inhale. Draw your low back away from the floor slightly, pubic bone away from navel. And on your exhale, drive your low back into the floor and hold it there for 10 rounds of breath. You're pressing your low back into the floor, but keep your breathing nice and steady. And then relax any effort. Now take your right hand and you're gonna come across your body. Let your knees do whatever they're gonna do, and then open back up. So you just bring your right hand sort of, you could come all the way across your chest and down your left arm. Let your knees do what they're gonna do and come back and forth in this sort of rotating, spiraling motion. Now, the arm is initiating this movement. Let your knees do what they're going to do. Let your head rock with the movement, and then go to the other side. Okay, back to center now. One more time with that same action in the pelvis. Inhale, drop pubic bone away from navel. Exhale, pubic bone towards navel. Press your low back into the floor and hold it. 10 breaths, 10 rounds of breath. You're pressing, you're spreading your low back. Just working with countering some of the twisting that we're doing, right? It's not a huge amount of effort. It's just enough engagement in your core, pressing your low back into the floor. Nice, easy breath. Great. And then you can let that effort go. Roll to one side or cross your ankles and roll up to a seat. Okay, so now find your, let's take left leg into Baddha Konasana and right leg into Virasana. If for some reason this doesn't work for you, you could have the right leg straight. All right, you can put a block underneath the left knee. But here's the starting position. Hands on your thighs, and just take a little inhale and rotate towards the left leg, the one that's in the Baddha Konasana shape. And then exhale, relax back. So let your right hip do what it's going to do. It might pick up off the floor a little bit. So you're just inhaling. There's a tiny twisting, spiraling to the left. And then exhale to come back to center. Let this really start in the low back and move up the thoracic spine. And then once you sort of have that rhythm, you can add your arms. Just don't let your arms lead. So you can spiral from the low back and then add a little more twist into to your spine with your arms, giving a little bit of, oomph, right? And come back. So it starts in the low back, moves up the spine, and we'll get the arms involved in the end. Let's do one more. And now with your arms suspended in air, just bring them down. So right hand to the outside of your left leg, left hand behind you. So you're in a pretty nice twist here. One more round of breath. Chin's back, tucked in. And release, come back and do just a little counter twist to the opposite side. And now we'll rotate back to the left. Left hand comes to the floor, press up on your knee, on your shins rather, and come up into a side bend. And then when you sit back down, turn over to the right, little rotation to the right. Okay, and then repeat. Okay, last time, last one, and then you finish by rotating to the right. And then come back to center. Legs stay in the same position. Grow through your spine. See if you can lengthen through your side waist. Side waists, both sides. Good. And then hands behind you to flip the position of your legs. If this is okay. If you have any knee issues, you need to straighten the left leg. Right leg's in Baddha Konasana. You could have a block underneath that leg. And we start with the hands kind of still and just a little rotation from the low back to the right and return. And then once you've got that pattern, let the low back lead, and at the end you can sweep the arms to the right. Come back. And maybe you're noticing the difference side to side. And the next time your arms are lifted and you're turning to the right, set your right hand behind you, left hand to the outside of your right leg. Hold this twist. You could de-rotate the head if you want here. Take a couple rounds of breath. And then on your next exhale, you'll release and you'll take a counter turn to the left. And now we'll come right hand to the outside of the right leg, come up into the side bend while you're on both shins. And as you exhale, set your hips back down and twist over to the left and then repeat. And last one. Good. Now, when you come back down this last time, you can come into Sukhasana. If that doesn't work for you, come with your block set into Virasana. But just find a neutral sitting position. Take a couple of grounding breaths. You want your strap nearby. Okay, and just relax. Just relax into it. Draw your tailbone down into the floor or into the props. and feel length building or gathering from sacrum up through the crown of your head, lengthening the sides like that fiddlehead unraveling, right? Okay. Now with your strap, I'm sorry I didn't prep you for this right at the beginning, but make a loop in your strap. And that loop is about the size so that you can bring your strap right between elbows and wrists, about shoulder distance. And then with the strap in place, it'll be between the wrists and the elbows. You got a strap there. If you don't have a strap, then you had a couple of tight TheraBands, you could use those, but we're going to press out against the strap, get a little engagement in the shoulders. And if you've got your strap, if you've got your shoulders up in your ears, drop your shoulder tops, soften there. And if this is coming from your low back, can you draw your low back, find neutral spine? So it's what we just did on the floor, like you're pressing your low back into the floor. Find that same action. So you're not outsourcing this movement to your low back. Okay, and strap is between wrists and elbows, pressing out. You're going to start to feel some fatigue pretty soon. So let's go 3 more rounds of breath here. Then you'll kind of release the strap into your hands, and you can floss your shoulders just by, let me get my long tail out of the way, just by sort of going back and forth behind your head, maybe circling the strap like you're drawing a circle on the ceiling with your strap. Be aware of any issues you have in your shoulders. That's sort of a flossing here. Make the loop a little bigger if you need to, or grab the tail. And then let's have everybody use a little bit more length in your strap. So put one hand's in the loop, one on the tail, and bring your strap, your right hand, all the way down to the floor. You might be using a lot of length here. So you're in sort of a side bend. The side bend twisty shape. And then you'll come back up and bring your left hand down to the floor, sort of just right by your hip there. And you can go back and forth with this a few times. And if depending on the health of your shoulders, you might have the strap more to the side than behind. But getting a nice opening in the side waist, and that little twisting, that little spiraling action. Good. Once you've done kind of an even number to both sides, just toss that strap over to the side and roll shoulders up, down, and back. You're taking that in both directions. Good. And from there, we'll meet on the mat in table. And in your table, take a couple rounds of cat-cow. And take the hands a little forward and rock back and forth, or go around in some circles. Just find some good big movements in your spine, pelvis, right? Great. And then we'll take the right fingertips to the right shoulder and we'll inhale, reach the right elbow up towards the ceiling. And on your exhale, spin and come under your body with your right elbow. So this is a big twist in the mid-back, the thoracic spine. So inhale, reach the elbow up towards the ceiling and exhale, come underneath your left arm. All right, I got some cracking going on here. So 3 more rounds here for a total of 6. On your last one, you can extend your arm out and come and rest in the twist. Left hand in front or resting on your sacrum. Or you can reach around for your right thigh in a bind. 2 more rounds of breath. And then left hand comes beside your head to press up, back to table, neutralize here with a couple rounds of cat-cow. Okay, and then we bring left fingertips to left shoulder. Inhale, sweep the elbow up towards the ceiling, and exhale, bring your elbow underneath your right arm, coming into that twist. Inhale and exhale. And let's do a total of 6 on this side. When you come to that 6th one, you can stretch your left arm underneath, right arm can come forward or rest on your sacrum. Staying in the twist for 2 rounds of breath. And then right hand beside your head, press yourself up, back to table, and a couple cat-cows to neutralize here. Okay. Just bring your hips right to left, send them back towards your heels, right to left. Just loosen up through your pelvis and then turn toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. Great. So in your downward facing dog, roll your triceps down towards the floor and then roll your forearms in towards one another so that the weight is on your thumb, index finger, and middle finger. So there's a spiraling through the arms. So triceps roll down towards the floor, so the upper arms go into external rotation, and the forearms come into internal rotation. See if you can find that. It's subtle. See if you can find that. Stay for 2 more rounds of breath. Gather your kneecaps up. Good. Then walk your feet up towards your hands. Set your hips back, bring your forearms to your thighs so you're in a sort of modified Utkatasana. And draw your tailbone down towards the floor. Then you can press up a little higher, hands to thighs, and bring a right hand to the outer left leg and left hand to your hip, your left hip. So you're in a twist. Okay, on our next inhale, we're going to sort of windmill, lift the arms up and stand up, right? Arms extended overhead. And then on the exhale, we'll sit back down into Utkatasana. Okay. Then inhale while you're here, and then exhale, bring your left hand to the outer right thigh and your right hand to your right hip. Okay. Then inhale, you raise your arms sort of in the twist, stand up, and then rotate to the front, towards the front of your mat. You do that all at once, right? And then exhale, you set back down into Utkatasana. Take your hands to your thighs here. Take a deep inhale, and then exhale, twist to the left. Right hand to the outer left thigh, left hand to your hip. Then you'll inhale, lift up in the twist, and then come forward. Exhale, sit back down. Inhale, exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, sweep the arms up, stand up, and then rotate to the front of your mat. And then exhale, sit into Utkatasana. Inhale, exhale, twist. Inhale, lift up, reach the arms up, twist, straight. You're now standing facing the front of the mat, arms up, and then exhale, you sit back down. Utkatasana. Take an inhale here, exhale, twist. Inhale, reach up, spin up, and spin to the front. Okay, take a couple more in both directions. Try to be as fluid as possible, like that fiddlehead unraveling. Once you've done an even number and you're on your last one, we'll meet with in the Utkatasana shape with hands on thighs. And then exhale into a forward fold. Take your hands to the mat, walk your feet back. Find downward dog again. Externally rotate the upper arms, internally rotate the forearms. So spin triceps towards the floor, and then put your weight on your thumbs, index finger, middle finger. That's going to rotate, internally rotate the forearms. Next inhale, come down to cow. Next exhale, forearms to the floor towards child's pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, turn your toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. Find the spiraling in your arms. Draw your kneecaps up. Inhale, drop your knees, come to cow. Exhale, forearms down, back towards child's pose. One more round, just like that. Okay, we find ourselves in child's pose now. We'll inhale, stand up on our knees, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, twist and open to the left. Inhale. Exhale, twist and open to the right. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands down. Turn toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. Walk your feet a little towards your hands so you're in a wider stance and a shorter downward dog. Bend your knees. Take your right hand to your left outer leg or ankle or thigh, and then straighten that leg and look underneath your left armpit. And a twist here. Release. Right hand comes back, bend the right knee, left hand to the outside of the right leg, and then straighten that leg and come into a twist. And release. Walk your feet up towards your hands. Set your hips back. Find that Utkatasana shape again with your hands on your thighs. Good. Inhale here. Exhale, twist to the left. Right hand to the outside of the left leg. And maybe the left arm can reach back behind you. On your inhale, you'll sweep both arms in front of you and stand up. Reach your arms overhead. Interlace your hands behind you, or interlace your hands and press your palms up towards the ceiling and take a baby back bend. Exhale, bend through your knees, let your arms float down. Find your hands on your thighs again. Inhale here, exhale, twist to the right. Left hand to the outside of the right thigh. Maybe the right arm reaches back behind you. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, float the arms down and come to standing in Tadasana. Okay. Good. You'll need a block now. Need a block, and the block can be used at any height. We're going to come into a revolved triangle shape, sort of. So let's bring the right foot forward, left foot back. Legs are straight here. And we'll start with the block on the inside of the right foot, and it can be at any height. Inhale for length, and exhale, you're going to fold or hinge at the waist. And your left hand will come to the block. Okay, this is our revolved triangle. So front leg, if you need to bend that front leg a little bit, that's fine. And the left foot, the left foot is out a little bit from the right, so you're not on a balance beam, you're more on train tracks. And then draw the right hip back in space, and keep your right hand on your hip, or maybe stack your shoulders. So reach the right arm up towards the ceiling. Now use the help of your core here. So draw your navel in and up, strengthen the core. Then on your next inhale, bend through the front knee and turn the back toe and lift the back heel. So you're in sort of a short crescent stand. Crescent lunge, yep. And inhale your arms up. Then exhale, step the back foot back and open up into warrior two. Good. Inhale, straighten the front leg, arms come up overhead. Exhale, bend through the front knee, reach the arms out into a T. Inhale, spin the back foot, come back to crescent lunge. Exhale, straighten the front leg and come into a bowing, sort of humble warrior or a pyramid shape. You can shift the back foot up and draw your right hip back in space. So working in the hamstrings here. Great. And then step your right foot back, find downward dog. Walk your feet up to your hands. Set your hips back. Press through Utkatasana to standing. with the arms down to your sides. Okay, we'll take the other side. So left foot forward, right foot back. And the right foot is turned out, toes out. Line yourself up. Take your block to the inside of your left foot. Inhale to lengthen through the crown of your head. On your exhale, you'll hinge at the waist. Bring your right hand to the block or blocks. Okay, and you could stay right here. Draw your left hip back in space. You can stay right here. You could try bringing fingertips to the left shoulder and stacking that way, or reaching the left arm up. You decide. In this revolved triangle. Okay, next inhale, you bend through the front knee, come up on the back toes, find yourself, your legs in a crescent lunge sort of position, a pretty high, tall one. Then inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, pick up the back foot and move it back and open up into warrior two. Inhale, straighten the front leg, arms overhead. Exhale, bend through the front knee, back to warrior two. Then pivot on that back foot, come up onto the toes, and back to crescent lunge. Exhale, straighten the front leg, any amount. Come to your blocks or come to the floor, reach the back foot a little closer, and come into pyramid. One more round of breath here. And then step your right foot up to the front of your mat. Come into a halfway lift. And come into, exhale, come into a fold. Heel toe your feet apart from one another. Move that block out of the way and come down into a squat. You can sit on a block if you need to, want to. Pressing your elbows against your inner knees or inner thighs and pressing your legs back against the elbows. Draw your tailbone down towards the earth. Option to go in to another twist here by bringing the one hand, left hand, say, to the floor and twisting in that direction, and then going to the other side, or just staying. Then set your hips down to the floor and find a modified or variation of boat with the knees bent. Hands to the thighs. Legs could be parallel to one another, or you could straighten the legs. Hands on the thighs or out in front. Draw your navel up and in. Good. Then slowly, 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 you can release your feet to the floor, roll yourself down to the floor. And once you're down on the floor, take a couple of pelvic tilts. And you're just giving yourself a nice massage in the low back there. We're going to kind of go back to the beginning here. So with your knees, your feet wide as the edges of your mat, rock your knees back and forth. Maybe not quite as far over, just a little rocking. And then when you come back to center the next time, stay there. Feet parallel to one another, legs parallel to one another. Take a couple of rolling bridges here just to really get a nice massage along your spine. Your choice of arms coming back at the same time or after. But as you press up, lifting your hips, right, you'll hold that and then roll down one vertebra at a time. Keep the back of your neck long here. Keep the back of your neck long. And just giving it some nice finishing support to the spine. And then once you come back down to the floor at this point, any variation of Shavasana, you could be in traditional Shavasana, knees bent, resting together, legs up on furniture, legs up a wall. But find that place again where we started. Sit with what is. Be with what is. Really less about changing anything and more about just recognizing what is and being okay with that. Unraveling the stuck places, the places where we get contracted about what is, right? Soften your eyes. Soften your hands. You might just take a quick reflection to the heart area and bring some gratitude forth. Invite a deep inhale here into a soft belly. A long exhale. With deepest gratitude to you, namaste.